really is? Yes, of course, you will think most people know already. But let's delve deeply and see what intimacy really is. That's our focus for today. So stick with me as we get started. What intimacy really is. And here's the truth. Many marriages don't end because of big fights. You would agree with me, don't you? They often end because the spark quietly dies out. Not because of big fights. There are relationships that have experienced big fights, others have experienced hard times, and they have weathered the storm. Why? Because the lifeblood of such relationships stayed within the system. But in a case where the lifeblood drains out, and the lifeblood is what we are talking on today, intimacy. What really is it? Very quickly, as today's video will be short, intimacy starts with emotional closeness. Yes, what's that? Is that feeling of being seen, being heard, and being valued. Intimacy is physical affection. What's that supposed to mean? Those small, consistent gestures that make the biggest impact. Intimacy is mental alignment. Shared values and goals, a sense of teamwork. Those form mental alignment. Intimacy is vulnerability with safety. Yes, expressing your deep needs, fears, and even desires, knowing you won't be judged for it. So intimacy is not just one thing. It is a conglomeration of these four things I have just run through now. We will look into them deeply, starting with emotional closeness. Intimacy is emotional closeness, physical affection, mental alignment, and vulnerability with safety. So what is emotional closeness all about? It's that feeling of being seen, heard, and valued by your spouse, by your partner. It's when your partner truly gets you, not just what you say, but what you mean to them. Do you know, without intimacy, relationships feel drab, lonely, even when you are both together. Yes, because there is no life blood. Without enough blood, sufficient blood in human body, the person will look famished, weak, feeble, pale, alive yet looking like dead. And that's the kind of picture most relationships convey today. They seem to be going on, but the life is drained out. The life of the relationship is intimacy. Intimacy is physical affection. Yes, you heard me right. Physical affection matters in relationships that last. Relationships between couples, partners. You see, when we talk of physical affection, we are talking about the small, consistent gestures that make the biggest impact. For example, a hand on the shoulder. You see, that little back rub you give to your spouse, a kiss on the forehead, or even a warm smile across the room while in the midst of perhaps a people at a gathering. Try winking at your husband when your eyes meet at a gathering full of people. You look across the room and your eyes meet with those of your husband. Try winking at him and see the impact. It turns the man on. Those tiny acts that convey a message. You see, when you give your wife that back rub, or shoulder massage, a kiss on the forehead, a message is always conveyed. You know what the message is saying? The message is saying, I'm here, I care, and you matter to me. I'm here, I care, and you matter to me. That's the message. Intimacy is an important factor in every relationship that will thrive. And every relationship ought to thrive. Why be in a relationship that's not thriving? What's wrong? You are going to discover today, perhaps, what you have been missing out. The last episode that we treated before this had to do with how to resolve conflicts, effective conflict resolution. Now in this episode, we are zooming out on the word intimacy. Intimacy is physical affection. What else? Let's quickly at this point go into a quick scenario. Before we proceed, let's look at a scenario. In this scenario, we have two sides. The first side is distance. The second side is small affection. We want to see what a home will feel like when there is a lack or shortage of intimacy in such a home. After which we'll flip it over and see the small affection present in a relationship. How will the home feel like in the presence of intimacy? So as we begin, we are looking at a couple, two partners. The first person there, the man, is named Simon, and the second, Janet. That means we are visiting the home of Simon and Janet. Simon comes home from work feeling tired, and surprisingly, he walks straight past Janet, who stands at the door holding her phone in her hand. And you know what Simon immediately gets himself busy with? He immediately gets himself preoccupied with checking his phone. Can you get a feeling of the atmosphere in such a relationship at this point? Silence fills the room. And Janet feels what? Unnoticed. She herself was already busy on her phone before her man walked in. And he, walking in, simply went straight past her and got involved on his phone as well. I'm sure you can feel the atmosphere in the room in such a family or home or relationship. Now let's flip it and see the aspect of small affection. Get ready and see if you can feel the temperature in the room this time around. As we flip it this time around, Simon comes back home from work tired, drops his bag, kisses Janet on the cheek and says, "I missed you today, my dear." That's it. Small affection. Did you feel the atmosphere? What do you think Janet will be having in her emotion at such a point, positive or negative? When you look at these two scenarios, you will discover that both took the same amount of time, but the second one builds intimacy, while the first slowly erodes it. And that's how intimacy goes out of a relationship, being chipped off little by little, like blood dropping out little by little. And soon the vein will be emptied, the arteries will be deprived of blood, and the individual will become weak. Intimacy, as I said earlier, is emotional closeness. Intimacy is physical affection. Intimacy is mental alignment. What do we mean by this? You share values, goals, a sense of teamwork. Not all your goals will be exactly the same, but there are certain goals you share, certain values, important values. Intimacy grows stronger when you are moving in the same direction, building not just a relationship, but a shared life together. The absence of this is the explanation for what's happening in your relationship. If you find that your relationship appears to be drab, weak, anemic, vulnerability with safety, Intimacy is vulnerability with safety. It's having the courage to express your needs, your deep needs and fears, and even desires, even if those desires are wild desires. Expressing them and knowing you won't be judged for it. That's vulnerability with safety. When you both create that safe space with trust and closeness, you will find that intimacy will be deepened in such a relationship. Relationships where the couple are able to express their deep desires and fears and needs with confidence, without fear, without shame. Such relationships are deep. There is an abundance of intimacy in such relationships. I've said this video for this episode will be very short. What do you think? I would like to hear from you. Give me your ideas about intimacy. Tell me what small steps toward intimacy deepening you will be taking this week. You need to start with just one small step this week. Listen more closely. Give that unexpected hug. Share something from the heart. Quick action plan for you is to pick one pillar to focus on this week. Implement a 5-minute daily or bi-daily practice. It may be 1 minute eye contact and validation. Our last episode deeply explained what validation is in intimate relationship. It could be 1 minute shared goal or value alignment. It could be a 1 minute gentle physical touch, hold hands, or a hug. It could be 1 minute vulnerability sentence, e.g., I love to share something I'm worried about. Take that step. Something you've been worried about but keeping from your partner all of this time. I think the time has come for you to open up. Don't feel vulnerable. Open up and you will be surprised. His reaction or her reaction. You will be surprised that those things you feared do not exist. It is not as bad as we often think it is. 1 minute end with a positive note or compliment. You can make a simple checklist. And so we have come to the tail end of today's episode. Don't forget, intimacy is a conglomeration of emotional closeness, physical affection, mental alignment, vulnerability with safety. So, if you have found this helpful, I want you to hit the like and subscribe buttons and share with someone you know that this will be of great help to. And I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which pillar will you strengthen in your relationship this week in the intimacy aspect? And what's your tiny daily action? Share this with your partner who you want to grow with. And finally, remember, everything is going to be all right again. Okay? Until next episode of Intimacy Reignited, from me, it's bye-bye.